The most confining prison in contemporary society isn't made of physical barriers. It's constructed from smiles, compliments, and social media likes. A prison composed of appearances, digital filters, and scripted interactions. Every day, countless individuals awaken, dress up, step into society, and don the mask of the competent professional, the stable individual, the perpetually cheerful friend, the evolved being who has transcended all suffering. Yet beneath this facade lies a reality no one wishes to reveal. A void, a strain, a concealed darkness, suppressed and lurking, waiting for an opportunity to break free. This hidden aspect is more authentic than any persona crafted to appease others. Carl Jung realized something few dare to acknowledge. Much of what you consider your identity isn't genuinely you. It's merely a tamed version of your essence. Jung referred to this as the persona, a mask utilized to navigate societal interactions. It enables us to fulfill various roles, those of a child, parent, colleague, citizen. However, when we start mistaking this mask for our true self, we lose connection with the vital elements lurking in our psyche's depths, the shadow. The shadow isn't merely a theoretical concept, it's a tangible, internal reality. It encompasses all that you've deemed too unacceptable to display: suppressed desires, unvoiced anger, hidden envy, unresolved traumas, and your most embarrassing urges. These aspects don't vanish, they remain active, manifesting as chronic fatigue, anxiety, emotional outbursts, toxic relationships, and a fear of being unmasked. Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray illustrates this with stark clarity. Dorian preserves his flawless exterior, while his true self deteriorates in secrecy, mirrored by a concealed painting that ages and decays with every misdeed he commits. Like Dorian, many strive to protect their public image at the cost of their private soul, leading to internal devastation. Jung posited that enlightenment doesn't come from envisioning beings of light, but from making the darkness conscious. This marks the beginning of genuine transformation. It's not about discarding the persona, which has its place, but about ceasing to live as if it's all we are. As long as you only embrace the acceptable, beautiful, moral aspects of yourself, you remain controlled by the aspects you deny. This video invites you to confront your inner reality, the hidden portrait you even keep from yourself, because true liberation from the illusion of image only occurs when we face our full selves. Here you won't find easy answers, but uncomfortable truths that, if you're prepared, can lead to a freedom only achievable when the mask is removed. The persona is a sophisticated falsehood, not a lie in the conventional sense, but in that it's not who you are, merely who you need to appear to be. Jung described the persona as a compromise between the individual and society, a necessary adaptation, an armor for societal acceptance. It's appealing because it's effective. It shields, it opens doors, it garners applause and opportunities, making you feel loved for the facade you present. Formed early in life, the persona is shaped by the realization that praise comes with obedience, inclusion with silence, and avoidance of ridicule with the concealment of true feelings. Over time, you begin to confuse this edited version of yourself with your identity, believing your worth is tied to this mask's performance, transforming protective armor into a restrictive prison. The persona, however, is more than a social role. It becomes a perpetual demand. You find yourself constantly monitoring your actions, maintaining appearances, and when deviations occur, feelings of guilt, shame, and failure arise because the persona tolerates no flaws. This constant performance comes at a high cost, as everything unapproved or undesirable is pushed into the psychological shadows, intensifying internal suffering. The story of Dorian Gray exemplifies the extreme consequences of living solely through a persona. Beautiful, charming, and seemingly untouchable, yet internally, every denied aspect of his character corrupts his hidden portrait until the disparity becomes intolerable. Like Dorian, many believe they can indefinitely conceal their disturbances, but suppressed issues inevitably impact us. Adhering strictly to an image halts personal growth, as change means modifying the mask, risking rejection, and stepping out of character. Hence, many choose stagnation over risking their soul's destruction. But the mask can never fill the void that expands as you drift from your truth. And eventually, that truth will surface through anxiety, apathy, anger, sabotage, or even in dreams and silent breakdowns. In the next segment, we'll delve into what Jung termed the shadow, and why, like Dorian Gray's portrait, it ceaselessly observes us. If this message resonates with you, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. In your innermost being, a space exists where all incompatible aspects of your image are stored for survival. Everything potentially compromising has been relegated to this psychological basement. Jung called this the shadow, a very real, vibrant, and active part of the psyche, not merely a symbolic or mystical concept. The shadow holds all the traits you've suppressed, denied, or concealed, believing them unacceptable. It contains your restrained anger, harmful impulses, forbidden desires, unacknowledged envy, secret pride, repressed sexuality, traumas, profound sadness, neediness, and hidden cruelty. Everything inconsistent with the pristine image you wish to project is banished here to the obscured portrait. The brilliance of the picture of Dorian Gray lies here. Dorian, obsessed with preserving his beauty, youth, and flawless image, makes a covert agreement. Everything he refuses to acknowledge within himself, everything that could mar his perfection, is projected onto the portrait. While Dorian lives freely, seductively, desired by all, his soul deteriorates out of public view. Yet the portrait remains, hidden in the attic, a silent testament to everything Dorian denies. Like the portrait, your shadow persists, growing stronger the more you ignore it. The shadow isn't innocuous. Jung warned that what you fail to bring to consciousness returns as fate, infiltrating your automatic behaviors, emotional habits, judgments, and disproportionate reactions. When minor irritations cause you to explode, when you sabotage a flourishing relationship, when you procrastinate on important tasks, when you inexplicably dislike someone, these are often the shadow striving to surface. And it doesn't only act covertly. It also entices because the repressed exerts a peculiar allure. This is why self-sabotage can sometimes feel gratifying, why you repeat destructive patterns, why you experience guilt after certain actions, even without understanding why. But there's a more perilous aspect. When the shadow is denied too long, it begins to project onto others. You start seeing outside what you refuse to acknowledge within. The aggression, arrogance, and deceit you detest in others are often traits you've exiled to your own shadow, leading you to battle the world without realizing you're actually at war with yourself. The tragedy of Dorian Gray mirrors the plight of countless individuals today. The portrait decays while they maintain a facade, posting inspirational quotes and dressing sharply, while internally, something disintegrates. Because deep down, a part of you knows, a part of you sees, the shadow perceives and feels everything. If you don't confront it, it begins to suffocate the person you were meant to be, trapping you in a life spent defending a version of yourself that, at its core, is merely a protective mechanism. Jung saw this clearly. True psychological maturity doesn't stem from adherence to the persona, but from the bravery to discard it when necessary. Genuine growth involves breaking away, detaching from the image, enduring the pain of being misunderstood, criticized, rejected. Only those bold enough to lose superficial acceptance can attain profound freedom. There is a path that facilitates this, a path that reconciles internal contradictions, heals the split between mask and essence, and transforms the chaos of the psyche into a new, more authentic, whole, and liberated order. Jung called this process individuation, the journey of integrating all parts of oneself, including the darkest, to become complete. This is precisely what we'll explore next. In the following part, you'll learn how individuation is a practical, intense, and deeply transformative journey. If this discussion resonates with you, you'll find real value in my ebooks. Beyond the Shadow breaks down Jung's fundamental ideas, while Dialogues with the Unconscious offers a 30-day path to apply these concepts in your life. Both are linked in the pinned comment. Individuation isn't about achieving perfection. It's about becoming whole. It involves confronting everything you've denied in yourself and having the courage to bring it to consciousness. It means acknowledging that you are not only your light, but also your darkness. You embody desire and guilt, love and resentment, generosity and envy, compassion and cruelty. Integrating doesn't imply acting on every impulse or engaging in destructive behavior, but rather recognizing these impulses exist and learning to manage them consciously. In Dorian Gray's tale, the hidden portrait represents what Jung would describe as an autonomous complex, a segment of the psyche that, once repressed and forgotten, begins to lead its own existence. The portrait symbolizes the dissociated soul, the unincorporated shadow. As Dorian refuses to face it, his soul becomes a hostile, ungoverned, dangerous territory. This serves as the novel's most potent metaphor. What you avoid confronting doesn't just disappear. It becomes increasingly monstrous. In individuation, the approach is reversed. You choose to descend into the psyche's basement. You open the dark room. You confront the portrait. Rather than destroying it or fleeing, you study it, listen to it, recognize it as part of yourself. In this recognition, something shifts. What is acknowledged with awareness oozes its power to dominate you in the shadows. Jung stated that individuation is a process of death and rebirth. The persona must die, or at least be dismantled, for the self, the deep, total self, to emerge. This transformation doesn't occur overnight. It's a journey, painful yet liberating, because for the first time, you stop being a character and start being a complete human being. This process demands brutal honesty. You must confess to feelings you've always denied, thoughts you've always censored, desires you've always suppressed. Not to lose yourself in these impulses, but to liberate yourself from the burden of denial. When the shadow is accepted, it no longer serves as an adversary. It becomes a source of strength, vitality, creativity, authenticity. Many of your greatest potentials lie precisely in what you fear confronting the most. Jung believed that only those who integrate the shadow can truly become ethical. The morality that stems from repression is fragile, but the awareness born from integration is profound. The person who acknowledges their own potential for cruelty is the only one who can choose freely and responsibly not to be cruel. This is where true maturity resides. Individuation means taking ownership of oneself. It involves ceasing to blame external factors for fate or failure. It means accepting that everything you've experienced has led you to this point, including traits you wish you could erase. From this acceptance, you rebuild yourself with awareness, humility, and resolve. This is the path Dorian Gray never chose. He preferred to destroy the portrait and himself, to erase evidence of his shadow, to erase a critical part of the self. But in life, we don't have to follow that same fate. The freedom you seek isn't external. It's not found in more recognition, more praise, more social media followers, more money, or more external validations. True freedom, the kind that quiets your mind, liberates your body, and silences internal turmoil, is only achievable when you confront yourself with radical courage. When you finally choose to examine your own hidden portrait. Carl Jung taught us that psychological maturity isn't equivalent to saintliness. It equates to awareness. A person aware of their shadow is more trustworthy than one who believes they are inherently good. Those who recognize their dark aspects learn to control them, integrate them, and transform them into creative energy. Those who refuse to see them end up controlled by them. Oscar Wilde demonstrated that the tragedy of Dorian Gray wasn't his perpetual youth. It was his cowardice in facing himself, his refusal to grow, his denial of his flaws, his obsession with maintaining an impeccable image. He didn't want to see the portrait. He didn't want to confront what he had become. Ultimately, what destroyed Dorian wasn't time. It was the accumulated burden of everything he concealed. You have a choice. You can continue to nourish a mask, relying entirely on it, smiling at the world while decaying internally. Or you can courageously start caring for your own internal gallery, not with judgment or guilt, but with presence, clarity, and responsibility. You weren't born to be adored. You came to be whole, and wholeness only arises when you become the curator of your unconscious. When you enter the locked rooms, dust off the forgotten paintings, reinterpret the distorted images, and decide autonomously how you will compose the portrait that represents you. Not an idealized, frozen, false image, but a living, imperfect, dense, real masterpiece. The masterpiece of your existence. Now close your eyes and ask yourself honestly, what part of me am I afraid to look at? What have I hidden for so long that I no longer even know how to name? Reflect on this thought. Write in the comments, even if it's just a word, a feeling, a discomfort. Sharing is also a way to start integrating. And if this video touched you in some way, like it. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And above all, subscribe to the channel. The next video is also important, and I want you to continue with us on this journey. I'll see you there.